Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of the central region of Singapore. Now, this is going to be a little interesting. Singapore is a city-state. The island is one big city, but it's mostly based, as you can see right here, which is the area that we're talking about tonight. So doing the history of this area is pretty much doing the history of Singapore, which I've already done. So we're going to have history in a nutshell, basic summary. And as for geography, it is a city. It is all city. The only two green areas here are up here. This is Bukit Timah Hill, which is the highest point in Singapore. And there's also, you can see right here, the Singapore Botanic Gardens, which is a UNESCO site. So let me pull that up for you. We also have Marina Bay right here, where we can find the Marina Bay Sands Hotel and the gardens by the bay. It's over there as well. Very famous site in Singapore. Why won't this rotate? There we go. Now I can let you see. The Singapore Botanic Gardens, the only UNESCO site in Singapore. Situated at the heart of the city of Singapore, the site demonstrates the evolution of a British tropical colonial botanic garden that has become a modern, world-class scientific institution used for both conservation and education. The cultural landscape includes a rich variety of historic features, plantings, and buildings that demonstrate the development of the garden since its creation in 1859. It has been an important center for science, research, and plant conservation, notably in connection with the cultivation of rubber plantations in Southeast Asia since 1875. It sounds like I'm losing my voice. 1 second. Let me get a drink of water. Quick drink of water here. My brother-in-law got me flowers for Valentine's Day, so I wouldn't feel left out, because of course he bought some for my sister, his wife. And I have them in a corner here and they smell so nice. So looking at pictures of the gardens here, I kind of have like smell-o-vision of the pretty flowers. I wonder if I can show you guys. Let me grab a piece. The cats, of course, have been tearing it apart. But here's a little bit of flowers. It smells so nice, though. They smell pretty. Of course, the cats are eating it. But look at this. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. And of course, we'll look at this on Google Earth. Look at that lotus. That's so pretty. And orchids. Singapore is very famous for its orchids. The Evolution Garden. There's a hair on the tablet. There we go. Pretty fountains. Look at these trees. My goodness. Pretty fascinating place. Yep, Singapore's only UNESCO site as of now. So, in order to do just a brief summary of the history of Singapore, it's pretty interesting. Singapore is named after the Kingdom of Singapura, which was established here in 1299. The town here that existed here was called Temasek. And over time, it came under the influence of very different, very major kingdoms and sultanates. There was the Majapahit, the Malacca, of course, being very close to Malaysia, and the Johor, which you can see the Johor Strait separates Singapore from Malaysia, named after the Johor Sultanate. Most of these, especially the Johor, was very influenced by the Dutch, who had colonized almost the entirety of what is today Indonesia. And they had a little bit of influence here. Again, they had influence in the Sultanate that controlled the town here, but It's not like the Dutch had a presence on the island of Singapore. So the British decided to take advantage of that, and in 1819 they sent a man here named Stamford Raffles. Stamford Raffles was quite a character. There's a lot of really interesting facts about this man, and I'm sure there's like negative things about him. He was technically a colonizer, but I've only read like really cool stuff. Like he abolished slavery on the island. We talked about Borobudur a few weeks ago now, I think a week and a half ago now. He was the first European to see Borobudur down in Java. He died on his birthday. I don't know. I don't know why that's so cool to die on your birthday. But I'm like, wow. Anyway. But he essentially established Singapore. He was sent by the British to establish a trading post here to compete with the Dutch trade, and it certainly did. It became a free port, so many people docked here, choosing this over any of the Dutch ports that were more expensive to dock at. You can't beat free. In 1824, this island officially became part of like the British Empire. It wouldn't be a colony for a bit yet, but it would definitely be established as British territory at that time. Due to the port that was here, a lot of labor was needed, and many people came from China to work here, which is very important in its history because most of the population of Singapore today is of Chinese descent from people who came during that time after this area became a British port. It would eventually, much later in history, also host a naval base that was completed in 1938, just in time for World War II, right? The Japanese invaded in February 1942. It was a massive battle. They made their way down the peninsula in Malaysia, finally arriving at Singapore. The British lost, Japan occupied, and of course, like I've said many times when talking about Japanese occupation of World War II, they committed some really terrible atrocities, which we're not going to get into, but I will note that they definitely targeted the Chinese population far worse than anyone else. But that's another story. The Japanese invasion of China. You know what I mean. But, World War II would come to an end. And Singapore would eventually start to earn more independence and would have a brief moment of independence before joining Malaysia in 1963. Malaysia decided to become independent as like a club. They got Singapore, they got Sarawak and Sabah over on Borneo. They tried to get Brunei. Brunei was like, nah, we're good. We're not, no. But they got Singapore, and it was very tumultuous. Singapore, during this time, has a history of racial riots, I suppose, racial discrimination, racial violence against the Malays and Chinese of the city. It got pretty bad at a couple times. 1964 was a pretty bad one. It was one of the reasons why things were tense between Singapore and Malaysia, the rest of Malaysia. There's a lot of icky tax stuff. Singapore had a lot of wealth that didn't want to share with the rest of the poorer areas of Malaysia, especially over on Borneo. They eventually decided to kick out Singapore. And on August 9th, 1965, Singapore became a fully independent country, which is interesting because that was exactly 20 years before I was born. August 9th is my birthday and Singapore's birthday. Birthday buddies. So now that Singapore was completely on their own, they knew that they needed to act fast before it went south. You know, if you don't act fast in your independence, it's going to be a bad time. So they whipped themselves into shape in terms of the economy and the infrastructure and started building up this place dramatically. It really picked up in the 1980s. And today, Singapore, especially this area down here, is a big, bustling metropolis full of skyscrapers, every kind of shop you can imagine, lots and lots of industry, lots of tourism. Everything that a glamorous Southeast Asian city has, you can find here in Singapore. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And that, in a nutshell, is the history of Singapore. So I want to hop over to the tablet as soon as possible because we have so much to look at here. So many amazing sights to see. So I'm going to stop yapping. Let me grab my tablet. Let me hit the lights. And we'll look at Singapore on Google Earth. Let's go. All right, here we are in central Singapore, I suppose. It won't let me show you the Singapore region, central region. It'll show me this area downtown called the central area, which is just like right here. So that's not good enough. The central region is like all of this here. But let's of course start by zooming out so you can see exactly where we are in the world. Here's the island of Singapore, which is very tiny, so you think it would be hard to find, but it's actually quite easy because all you have to do is locate the Malay Peninsula right here. It's just at the very tip of it. You can see Indonesia down here, which we will revisit in a few days. And yeah, pretty simple to actually find. It's just very tiny is the thing. All right, I realized when I was setting this up, I glanced over my script and saw that I left something out. I was supposed to say at the end that all of this area was developed in the 2010s. So let's take a look at it. Here's the Gardens by the Bay. I believe it opened in 2011, and it's like a marvel. These are big trees. You can see you can walk around them. Of course, man-made trees. And inside of them are all different kinds of plants. You can see they light up in all different colors. There's the hotel we'll look at in a second. A big indoor waterfall. It's just an absolutely stunning place to explore and see all of this plant life. We'll look at that in a second too. Gorgeous, isn't it? It is like a huge symbol of Singapore today, this whole area. There's a floating baby. Look how gorgeous it is. Look at it. So pretty from above, isn't it? It's really amazing. That huge hotel you saw is right here. Look at this. The Marina Bay Sands. Very famous for its rooftop up here with its pool. You can see right there, right on the edge, and dining and all those wonderful things. There's the flower domes over there. The children's garden. It's gorgeous over there. Of course, I highly encourage you to check it out for yourself. There's so much to see here. And then across the way is the Singapore Flyer, which is kind of like the London Eye, you know. The big wheel so that you can see everything, especially all of this gorgeous landscape here on Marina Bay. It is something else. And then if we go like this, you can see that central area right here. All of these big, big skyscrapers, all of this business here. It's really flat over here. A little bit of historic area. There's the Chinatown here. Let's take a look. It's like every Chinatown. It's very red, very vibrant, with amazing food. I miss being in San Francisco and just dropping into literally any place in Chinatown, any restaurant, and it's like the best you've ever had. It doesn't matter. It's always ran by some like grandma. They're always yelling in the kitchen in, I guess, Mandarin probably in San Francisco. It's great. I miss it so much. I was trying to look at this road. The slideshow disappeared. There'll be another road we'll look at in a minute, but I wanted to see that one. There we go. On Siang Road. bit more historic, as you can see. Very pink over here. And you can see that this is still, Chinatown. You can see it's written in Latin alphabet and in Chinese. Yeah, look how massive the city is. It is something else. This place is pretty unreal. I've always wanted to come here. If you've been to Singapore, drop me some stories about your visits. Over here, this is the one I'm thinking of. Yes, this is like the high-end shopping area, Orchard Road. Big shopping mall there. It's Christmas on a great street. There are all different religions practiced here due to its multicultural population. There are Christians, there are Muslims, there are Buddhists, there are Hindus, there are Taoists. All of them are considered equal here in Singapore. Gosh, look at that. That's pretty wild. Alright, over here's the Botanic Gardens. You can see just how big and sprawling they are. The Botanic Gardens, how pretty. This place is like paradise. The Orchid Garden. Like I said, Singapore is very famous for its orchids. Its national flower is a specially bred orchid. The bird of paradise there. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. Oh no, there's a big monitor lizard. My goodness, just wandering around. If we look over, make sure I'm not turned around. I'm good. Over here's Bukit Timah. I guess we could just look at the nature reserve. I think the hill, the actual Bukit Timah is like right here. Bukit Timah Bike Trail. It's somewhere around here. It is the highest point. But oh, here it is, Bukit Timah Summit. But it's like not very high, right? But it is the highest point in Singapore. And it's gorgeous. Singapore's government has worked very hard to preserve what natural land they could. And, whoa, goodness. We're not going to look at that much tonight. We can see this, though. There's another monitor lizard. Goodness, they're like pigeons all over the place. Wow, tiger. But yeah, they work very hard to keep what green areas they have left pristine and healthy and full of beautiful plants and animals. So we're not going to head up there tonight. We're going to look at, oh, here's the big docking area. Look at all the shipping containers. That's absolutely wild. Massive, massive, massive. Can't even comprehend that. See, there's another nature reserve. Let's look at it over by the golf course. Very pretty. They got peacocks. And chickens. Down here is Universal Studios. This island is part of this district. There's beaches. This is definitely the tourism island here. And I don't think this is one of the man-made islands. Singapore does have a couple of reclaimed islands down here that's used for industry or landfills and such, but I don't believe this one is Sentosa. I love Universal Studios. I've been to the one in LA and Florida, although the one in Florida just had a huge expansion that I'd love to go see. But look at the fort. Fort Siloso. Old cannons there. And it looks like we have some life-size mannequins here. It looks like they're fighting World War II. Because World War I didn't really touch this part of the world, but World War II absolutely did. You can see they've got little tunnels. They're filling up some artillery. Lots of history there. How great is that? even more shipping. The port is absolutely massive. But that is what it is famous for. We won't look at the Science Museum, but it's like a really iconic building as well. It's a big old lotus flower. And yeah, that is Singapore. In a very quick nutshell. My goodness. You can see all the other little parks around. There's Sri Temasek, which I think this was the administrative building when this was a colony. If I recall, that's it. That's where the Governor General would live. Oh, I didn't show you the merlion. That's pretty important. The merlion is the symbol of Singapore. There's Marina Bay. The merlion is over here. Merlion, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a mermaid lion. Yep, there it is. You have to go see the merlion, of course. We can also look at all the museums. Oh, there's the National Museum. In this gorgeous building here. We've got a big old tank. Building. We want to look inside. We want to see some exhibits. There's a pirate ship. There's an old cart there. Looks like it was built by a person. There's Doraemon. Okay. They must have been doing a Doraemon exhibit. Look at the little kitchen there. That's pretty cute. Nice backsplash. All lit up. Oh, wow. They must have really fun little immersive exhibits like that. But yeah, there is so much to see here. As always, I highly encourage you to poke around this area for yourself and see what you can find, because there's just so much. There's everything here. Everything you can imagine in a big city is here. So all of the good food, all of the parks, all of the museums, nightlife, concerts, culture, all of it you can find here. So I'm just going to end it there because there's just too much to show you. Way too much to show you. So thank you so much for watching. I think I'll end. I wonder if I can find. Let's head back to Marina Bay. Was it over here? I think it was actually over by Universal. Or not. Oh, there it is. The Singapore cable car. We can end it on this. Over the water. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing. We're going to another capital city tomorrow, because this is technically the capital city and the entire country. Look, there's Hello Kitty. How cute. We're going to the capital of Slovenia. See Ljubljana, where there's 2 UNESCO sites in that region. So, and lots to see. It's a gorgeous city. Oh my gosh, you're gonna want to see it. It's beautiful. They got some cool buildings from a while ago and more recent all merged together. It's pretty neat. Look at Hello Kitty. I love Hello Kitty. Oh my gosh, Fuecoco. It's a Pokemon. Pokemon cable car. Anyway, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a good night. Good night.